Hello, good morning. Well, we're here. We made it. All right. Good morning, Mustangs. If you're here, go ahead and say hi in the chat. Let me know how you're doing today. Would love to hear about it. I'm going to go ahead and go put the link in all of the places so that everyone can come join us. So how's everyone doing today? Hopefully we're having an amazing start to our Friday. Hey, Jacqueline. Hey, Gunica. Hey, Marissa. And of course, it is indeed Friday. So that's always good. I don't know if it feels like being Friday even matters at this point, or if sort of even the weekends all sort of feel the same. Oh, awesome. Glad to hear you all are doing good. I'm doing all right today. I'm not feeling great, but we'll make it. We got this. Yeah, I'm not sure that Friday means anything anymore, except, at least for me, the big thing that it means is that I won't be here on YouTube. And that's sort of been like the big parts of my day most days is these live videos, YouTube Live in the morning and then Google Meets in the afternoon. So there you go. Does anyone have any big weekend plans? Anything that we're excited to do over the weekend? Again, I'm not sure if like it being the weekend even means anything. I suppose it sort of depends on how much school stuff you normally do Monday through Friday, because that is still the big thing that that we don't have, right? Like we don't have school on the weekends. Morning, Cindy. But yeah, I suppose if you're doing a lot of school stuff Monday through Friday, maybe the weekend feels like a break. I suppose if you have like a lot, then the weekend might just be a time to catch up on schoolwork, making it not feel that different. I don't know. Oh, Marissa, you're going to binge watch Parks and Rec. Awesome. That's a good show. I love it. Jacqueline, nothing special for the weekend. Sometimes that's nice. As much as we're all sort of spending time at home and it feels like we're not doing much, like we still are. Like we're still here a lot. Morning, Cydia. Hey, Mrs. Garcia. We're still doing a lot. We're still doing a lot of work, at least in terms of, at the very least, in terms of like just the emotional work of keeping up with the news. That's a lot. And that counts. Hey, Mom. So yeah. All right. So I sort of want to jump right into our poem today, because I think it's sort of a fun one. We were talking yesterday about how yesterday was Shakespeare's birthday, and the poetry book that I have that I've been reading from, whatever this one is, Poem a Day, a lot of them are timely. So yesterday they chose something from Shakespeare, which was fun. And what I thought was really fun about it is they didn't actually choose one of the sonnets, which are sort of like the one that you would think that they would choose, because it's an actual poem. But instead they chose a passage from As You Like It, which is one of Shakespeare's plays, from Act 2, Scene 7. Yeah. Act 2, Scene 7. And it starts out with with a super famous line that now people quote all the time: all the world's a stage and all the men and women merely players. But it goes into the whole speech. And it's one of the things that I find so interesting about reading and studying Shakespearean plays is so much of his work, so many of the words that he coined and the lines that he wrote have become famous. But when you read them in context, they often take on an entirely new meaning. I especially think about like everything that Polonius ever said in Hamlet is very different in the context of the actual play. So I thought it would be fun to read this one. So, like I said, this is from As You Like It. All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man in his time plays many parts. His acts being 7 ages. At first, the infant, mewling and puking in the nurse's arms. And then the whining schoolboy with his satchel and shining morning face, creeping like snail, unwilling to school. And then the lover, sighing like furnace with a woeful ballad made to his mistress's eyebrow. Then a soldier, full of strange oaths, and bearded like the pard, jealous in honor, sudden and quick in quarrel, seeking the bubble reputation, even in the cannon's mouth. And then the justice, in fair round belly with good cap and mind, with eyes severe and beard of formal cut, full of wise saws and modern instances. And so he plays his part. The 6th age shifts into the lean and slippered pantaloon, with spectacles on nose and pouch on side. His youthful hose well saved, a world too wide for his shrunk shank, and his big manly voice turning again toward childish treble, pipes and whistles in his sound. Last of all, that ends this strange eventful history, is second childishness and mere oblivion. Sans teeth, sans eyes, sans taste, sans everything. There you go. And I just think it's so interesting. I think that line, all the world's a stage and the men and women merely players, is often quoted in like theater circles as sort of just like everything is acting type thing. And I think there's some of that in there. And I think in some ways that's valid. But it's so interesting to me that about everyone being actors on a stage is much less a part of that that speech than this idea of these stages of life. And how they're predictable and understandable, and they're the same for every person, and like what they actually are according to this speech. So there you go. That's what we have for today. The next thing I have for us is our book. This is a great one. So it's Fever 1793 by Laurie Halse Anderson. And let me just say, I've met Laurie Halse Anderson, and she is just like a gem. She is lovely. Oh, Mom, you watched Romeo and Juliet from the Globe last night. Awesome. Yeah, they've been posting. The Globe Theater, for those of you who don't know, is sort of like the home of Shakespeare in England. And they've been posting on their YouTube channel lots of Shakespeare content. So there you go, pro tip. So like I was saying, Laurie Halse Anderson is just a complete gem. She is a lovely, lovely woman. She's been writing young adult books for decades now, and no end in sight, which is great. And this one, Fever 1793 is so interesting, especially when we consider this current situation. So let me read the back of it for you. During the summer of 1793, Mattie Cook lives above the family coffee shop with her widowed mother and grandfather. Mattie spends her days avoiding chores and making plans to turn the family business into the finest Philadelphia has ever seen. But then the fever breaks out. Disease sweeps the streets, destroying everything in its path and turning Mattie's world upside down. At her feverish mother's insistence, Mattie flees the city with her grandfather, but she soon discovers that the sickness is everywhere, and Mattie must learn quickly how to survive in a city turned frantic with disease. So this is historical fiction. In 1793 in Philadelphia, there was a massive case of yellow fever. It's what we would call an epidemic, which is different than a pandemic. Epidemic just means that the disease or whatever it is in one sort of spot. It's pervasive in that one spot. Pandemic, which is what we are in right now, is just that it's pervasive in a larger area. Pan literally means all. So when we say it's a global pandemic, it means it's pervasive all over the world. So the yellow fever in 1793 was an epidemic in Philadelphia and in sort of like the northeastern coast of the U.S. And so this is a historical fiction following Mattie, who was a young girl. I can't remember exactly how old, 11, 13, somewhere in there, who has to figure out like how to survive. It says in the on the back that her mother sends her away. She says, you need to leave so that you can be safe. And so she leaves with her grandfather. And Mattie has to sort of grow up very quickly and figure out how to help herself survive and help her grandfather survive, and try to make some of these really difficult grown-up decisions about where they should go and what they should do, especially as they find out that the yellow fever is sort of everywhere they go. And I think it's really interesting to think about that right now, because 1793, it's not like they had social media or television news or even telephones to call each other and share where is safe and where is not. They had letters to write to each other, and that's about it. And so this idea of this very young woman going off and sort of figuring it out and making it happen is really interesting. I think especially now with the perspective that we have. So I'll go ahead and read a little bit of the beginning. Hold on. Okay. So chapter 1, August 16th, 1793. I woke to the sound of a mosquito whining in my left ear and my mother screeching in the right. Rouse yourself this instant. Mother snapped open the shutters and heat poured into our bedchamber. The room above our coffee house was not large. 2 beds, a washstand, and a wooden trunk with frayed leather straps nearly filled it. It seemed even smaller with Mother storming around. Get out of bed, Matilda, she continued. You're sleeping away the day. She took my shoulder. Polly's late and there's work to be done. The noisy mosquito darted between us. I started to sweat under the thin blanket. It was going to be another hot August day. Another long, hot August day. Another long, hot, boring, wretched August day. I can't tell who is lazier, Polly or you, Mother muttered as she stalked out of the room. When I was a girl, we were up before the sun. Her voice droned on and on as she clattered down the stairs. I groaned. Mother had been a perfect girl. Her family was wealthy then, But that didn't stop her from stitching entire quilts before breakfast or spinning miles of wool before tea. It was the war, she liked to remind me. Children did what was asked of them, and she never complained. Oh, no, never. Good children were seen and not heard. How utterly unlike me. So I'll stop there. So you can see right at the beginning, as much as we're going to see Maddie deal with like this massive epidemic of disease and growing up really quickly, she's also dealing with like normal kid stuff, chores and working and struggling with her relationship with her mom. And it's a really good book. In terms of like readability, it's actually a really easy read. For most of you, it's going to be sort of like it's not going to be a challenge for you. But it's fast paced and it's fun to read. So it's really good in those respects. So yeah. If you like sort of young adult books, especially if you like historical fiction, and if you're okay sort of reading about something that's going to be sort of similar to what we're going through right now on a worldwide scale, then Fever 1793 might be a really good option. So yeah. All right, cool. That was it. I did my thing. What do you guys have for me? Questions, concerns, thoughts on life? I don't know. For those of you who don't follow me on Twitter, that's what I wrote today while I put in the link, is I said, come for the poem and the book talk, stay for the random conversations about the best Disney princesses. Because I know that's what we talked about, I don't remember, a couple days ago, a week ago. Who knows? Time is confusing. Yeah, Jacqueline 42, absolutely. Miss Garcia, also 42. There you guys go. Same page. All right. So I haven't checked the weather today to see if it's going to be nice enough to go outside for a nice long walk. But man, I look outside right now and it's looking like it should be good for a nice long walk. It is bright and sunny. Marissa, I don't know what my plans are for the weekend. I don't have anything big, which is nice. I am probably gonna keep working on some sewing. I might get some yard work done. That might be it. Oh, I have a ton of grading to do. That's what it is. I need to try to catch up on some grading because we're coming up on the end here and grades got to be done. Miss Garcia, I am currently reading a book called The Summer Book by Tove Jansson. It's like a little itsy bitsy. I had it in here yesterday. I don't have it in here today. It's about a young girl named Sophia and her experience living on an island with her father and her grandmother. And a lot of it is about the relationship between her and her grandmother. And it's very like literature-y. There's like no plot. Every chapter is almost like its own vignette. So every chapter is really short. I think like the longest one I've seen so far is 10 or 12 pages. But most of them are somewhere between like 6 and 8 pages. And they sort of just give this vignette of Sophia and her grandmother and sometimes other characters. And I don't know, it's really interesting. It's not like fast paced, which was a little annoying, but in terms of just like getting some like beautiful language and just some really interesting ideas, I'm enjoying it for sure. Oh, mom, you just borrowed Fever 1793 from Hoopla. Awesome. Yeah, mom, I do really think you would like it. It's easy, but I know how much you like historical fiction. So, yeah. Oh, and then Miss Garcia, I know that you've been recommending, shoot, it's a book by Elizabeth Acevedo. Fire on High? Is that it? I think that's it. Um, Sorry, I'm checking right now. I think that's what my college roommate book club book is going to be next. Yeah, with the Fire on High, Elizabeth Acevedo. That's what we just decided this morning is going to be our next um, college roommate book club book. So I'm excited about that. Yeah. For those of you who don't know, and this is actually such a fun thing to do right now. So yeah, I'm excited because you've been telling me that it's so good. Um, so I made my friends decide that they wanted to read it too. For those of you who don't know, I went to college in Texas, and then me and like my two closest college roommates, we all like seriously like spread from Texas. I came back to California. The one friend moved to Florida, and then one friend moved to St. Louis. So we really are sort of like on both coasts and then right smack dab in the middle of the US. And so one of the things that we started doing, like 3 or 4 years ago now, we felt like we weren't talking enough, that we missed each other a lot. And so we decided it would be fun to do a long distance book club. And so we started by rereading the whole Harry Potter series together. And we would like read the book and then we'd get on the phone and just like have these long conversations where we like catch up on each other's lives, but also talk about books. And we finished the Harry Potter series and we're like, let's keep doing this. So we have, and we've read something like 18 or 20 books together over the past several years. And it's so fun. So if you've been missing your friends or missing getting to talk to people about good books, I totally recommend find a couple of friends who sort of have similar reading tastes to you, um, and pick a book and sort of like, if you want, you could set up like a reading schedule where you talk like once a week over certain sections of the book. But it's a really fun way to like keep in touch with your friends and to have awesome people to talk about books with. So that's my 2 cents for the day. Especially since we can't all sort of be in the same place right now. For you all, even your friends who just sort of like live down the street have become long distance friends. So yeah, it's a good way to keep in touch and keep reading awesome books. All right. I think we're gonna wrap it up there for today. So a couple things. Today is Friday. I hope to see you in our Google Meet classes. I hope you all have an awesome, awesome weekend that is restful and fun, and rejuvenating and satisfying and all those great, great things. Other than that, I will see you on Monday. Make good choices over the weekend. Have a great rest of your day. Always remember who you are, what you represent, and to show your Mustang pride. See you guys later.